Welcome back, boys and girls. My name is Tum Energia Martial Arts. We're going to show you a sweep today. Helping me out is my buddy and one of my students, Tom. I'm going to show you a sweep from close guard. It's a basic sweep called the hip bump sweep. We already have a video. I'm going to put the link up here in the description. We have a video on a hip bump variation. That wasn't the actual hip bump sweep. It's a variation that makes your opponent pose and enters up for triangle possibility. You could go for the sweep there if they're not really aware of the pushing back. Today we're going to show you basic hip bump sweep from the cross side. And we're also going to show you some variations where he pushes you back and how we can get a setup. Let's just get to it. Let's... Okay, so we're going to start off in a close guard position. Now the fun thing with with sweeps in general is I want to be aware of his posture. There's a few sweeps that are really easy when I have his posture. For example, Tom is on top of me. We can work towards flower sweep, boom, throw him off to the side. We can work towards our 100% sweep, which we've shown in a different video. We can work to scissor sweeps, etc., etc. Now we're going to do one sweep that is kind of different to all those sweeps. It's the one where he postures all the way up. So I want to get his posture. Tom is all the way up. Even if he's holding my body down with one or two hands, if he's holding my hips, then it's pretty easy for me to just sit up. But still it's kind of heavy. But if he's holding my posture a bit higher, yeah, it's pretty hard for me to sit up. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make like a technical get up. I'm going to bring my elbow all the way underneath my body. So I'm not going towards my elbow. Look, as soon as I go to the side on top of my elbow, Tom will just easily push me down and I have no chance of getting up. So what I want to do is I want to turn my body a little bit and I bring my elbow in one rapid motion underneath my line of, underneath my posture. Yep. So I'm here, go to the side, boom, and I base my elbow, I make a flat hand on the mat, and my elbow and my shoulder are aligned with my body. So if Tom starts pushing me back, yeah, it's pretty hard. Now, obviously, Tom is a big, strong guy. It's pretty easy if he commits to it to bring me down, and it's pretty hard for me then to do the hip bump sweep. But if he does so, if he fully commits, I'll just get his posture and start working from here. But we're not going to get into that today. Just wanted to show you, yeah, the what ifs. So I bring my elbow underneath, boom, and I get my elbow and my shoulder behind me. If there's an angle, it's easier to show. I'm going to show you later on from a different angle. If there's an angle and my elbow is more close to my hip, then it's easy for him to push me over. And I collapse on my shoulder, which isn't necessarily super bad because he's still in my close guard, but it does prevent me from doing the opposite. So I like to get my elbow behind. You see there's an angle pushing all the way from that elbow diagonally into Tom, and it's pretty hard for him to collapse me over. Now, as soon as my elbow is out of line with my body and he pushes, I'm easily collapsed. So if you have a hard time getting your posture, try and work on that. I'll show you a solo drill later on, but for now, I get on my elbow, yeah, and I want to go cross-side across his body and extend to my hand. Now, the same thing applies. If I just go to my hand and it's out of line with my body, I will collapse. So I go and I push my hand out in one line. So if Tom starts pushing back, I'm pretty strong here, even though he's physically stronger. Now I want to go all the way and reach across to get this arm. Now the reason why is because this arm is what he will use to post. If I don't control this arm, like we've seen with the different one, he can just post his left hand out. Yeah. Sometimes I want that to attack the arm or to go, for example, for triangles, etc. But today I want to sweep him. If I use this hand, like for instance with a scissor sweep, then I can never get up high enough to sweep him. So getting high enough, I'll just show you what that means. If I want to hip bump Tom over, now I'm not going to get the post out, just show you the basic mechanics. If I throw my hip against his hip, there's not much happening. Even if I'm all the way up, if I throw my hip to his hip, there's not much happening. What I want to do is I want to throw my hip underneath his armpit and throw him all the way to the side and lift my hips, go up and bump him to the side, hence the name hip bump sweep. So I want to get high and close. If I stay low on my elbow, I will never get deep inside his armpit. I want to be high and bump all the way. Mind you, Tom is easily going to post now, but this is what happens, you see? Obviously he's posting, I'll get to that in a second, but I want to be high. So I get to my elbow, I go up and I make this cross grip to get this post. I cannot use this hand because then I will collapse and I'm not high enough and I cannot do the sweep to begin with. So I hope that's clear to understand. Go up, base up. If Tom feels me coming and out of any reason leans back even further, keeps pushing me away, it makes it easier for me to sweep, yeah? And if I still cannot get to the arm, look what I do. I'm too far away, I just shove closer. I don't take a step, because then I will collapse down, I just shove closer, like itsy bitsy spider closer. Until I get my arm wrapped all the way around his arm and I get a grip underneath his armpit. So I don't want to just grab his triceps. Because if Tom does nothing, I can easily sweep him. But it's pretty easy for Tom to now post his left hand. Boom. Yeah. He's going to his left side, so I'll post it all the way to the left. Boom, and I cannot sweep him. So what I want to do is I want to get my whole arm underneath and curl it up. So if Tom wants to post now, post, 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 post. There's no post. I get into the full mount position. Now sometimes this arm is still laying here and it's so tempting to start attacking working with this arm, but I'm off balance. My left leg is light, so Tom can work with AB escapes or getting to single leg. So I want to push my weight back into full mount. But we're just focusing on the sweep today. So as I said, it's a basic sweep, but a lot of mechanics behind it to make it work. So if you just want to go up here and get a sit-up, it's pretty hard, and he can easily push you back down. So I want to AB, boom, get to my elbow, angle, push up, reach all the way over. So I want to get my armpit on top of his shoulder. So I'm not being here and grabbing with my hand, I want to be all the way over. That makes it easier to transition to other techniques in a second. Collect his arm underneath his armpit and curl it up all the way. Sometimes I can even grab it or grab my own chest or my gi, whatever. Grab it and then don't throw my hip to the side, but up in his armpit. I go all the way up and I cut the corner. Boom. Get my position and bring back and score my points for the sweep and the full mount. Let's check it out from the side so you can see the posture. So, close guard. I'm not just coming up, yeah. I go to my elbow, boom, go up, push my hand. It's one line. If Tom pushes back, I'm pretty strong. As soon as my hand is out, he'll collapse me. If he overcommits in this stage or this stage, and he completely overcommits, I'll just grab him, get his posture, and start working from there, okay? But today I wanted the hip bump sweep. So come up, all the way across, underneath his arm, and keep lifting his arm. I keep lifting his arm. I'm not just grabbing it for the sake of grabbing it, because then he can still pose. Look at his lower arm. His elbow and his hand can still rotate out. So keep lifting it. Lift my hip, and cut the corner. Look at my head. I'm going to turn all the way over, boom, get to the position, and work my full arm. Okay, let's check out the solo view once for the position. I think side view is the best place to be. So we're laying here, get my elbow underneath my body, make a flat hand. So don't be on the point of your elbow. Here you'll easily tumble over. Make a flat base and extend to my hand. Now we're here to do the sweep. So I want to lift my hip. So it's basically like a technical, like a Turkish get-up with a kettlebell or a technical get-up to stand up. So go up and now I lift my hip and I step over, turning my head to the side, boom, getting into the position. So that's the basic way of entering for the hip bump sweep. Yeah, finishing the hip bump sweep, controlling the post, getting high enough, sweeping him. The cool thing about the sweep is that I'm not using my legs that much. So if the sweep fails, I haven't given up my guard. Just to show you a different example, if I, for example, go for a scissor sweep in no gi, I would control shotgun and collar. I go out. Now, if he pushes my leg down in some way, yeah, for example, he can press me down, yeah, collapse my guard. I could try and work for reverse scissor sweep, but I have given up a form of guard. The cool thing with the hip bump sweep is that even if I fail, there's still options for me. We're gonna just show you a few options. So I come up, I get this cross grip. Now Tom feels it coming. If he leans back, I'll throw him over. So what's the best thing to do? He can either collapse me all the way forward, yeah, using purely his weight, or he can collapse my arm, grab it with two hands, one, and pull, and we fall down. This tends to happen. I'm gonna show you a few options from there. So the more he leans back, the more he compromises his posture, and it opens up some submissions for me or different sweeps. The more he leans away, for example, I go for a basic kimura, yeah, and as I go for the kimura, come a bit back please. So as I go for the kimura, Tom is actually doing what he just showed. He's feeling the kimura coming, so he postures back up, which is easy because if he does nothing, I'll go for the kimura. So as soon as he postures back up, 1 second please, I go through, I want to get my kimura grip, he postures back up, I follow. I don't stay on my elbow because it will be really hard to sweep him over. I follow back up and I finish with the hip bump sweep. Now the same thing works vice versa. I go for the, sorry, get your posture. I go for the hip bump sweep, Tom feels it coming and he collapses back down. I throw my hand away, go with the weight and work towards the kimura. I could also do the same thing. Let's do the other side so you can see what's happening. When he collapses me back down and work towards the guillotine, for example. Go here for guillotine or go underneath and work towards my 100% sweep. Yeah, we have a different video on that. Read the description. So the hip bump sweep connects nicely with the kimura, with guillotines, with the 100% sweep, with switching up, for example, I go for the hip bump, he claps me back down. I switch to red guard, different guard system we tend to use. Go from there to the other side for shoulder pin. So the hip bump sweep is not only a good basic sweep, yeah, it's not only a good counter to when you go for submissions without posture. So you have his posture, you go for submission, he postures back up. It's a very nice counter to work both angles. So we have sideways angles in guard, and we have angles, are they called lateral angles? I think so. Yeah. Lateral angles up and down, yeah? So when he brings his posture down, it opens submissions and sweeps. When he brings his posture up, it opens the hip bump sweep, and those connect. So we have the hip bump sweep basically from close guard. We have some counter abilities when he pushes me down. We look at the mechanics of how to stay strong, work over. We can switch to 100% sweep. We can switch to red guard. We can switch to guillotines. We can switch to kimuras. There's tons of stuff out there we can switch to. The final thing I'm going to show you real quick is what if you cannot get all the way up and you still want to finish with hip bump sweep. I just want to let you experiment with this. You can try and do the hip bump sweep with no posture at all. I'm all the way down. He also has his posture down, so he falls back. And what I now tend to do is I turn my forehead on the ground. I hope the mic is still good to hear. So I turn my forehead on the ground and I just slowly walk around the corner. So I keep this pose, maybe with two hands or control his wrist. Keep this pose, put my foot on the floor and just start turning, turning, turning. You see my foot making slow steps as I slowly roll him over. So it's no longer a hip bump sweep. I'm not actually bumping anything. I'm just slowly rolling around the corner. Now this one is pretty hard. Just experiment with it. Hip bump sweep, submissions from there, close guard. I hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a comment and see you in the next video. Boys.